Hey, it's Tracy with Between CAD Classes. In this video, we are going to look at some 3D modeling in AutoCAD. Specifically, this is going to be part 1 of 6 parts of creating this caster assembly that you see right here. So 5 of the parts will be modeled over the first 5 videos, and then in the 6th video, I will show you how to assemble them all together. Take a look at the description for this video to find a link to the playlist so that you can view all of the parts. You will also find in the description a link to the detailed drawing that I'm using to create this first part, and you will even find the template that I'm using as well. The first part that we're going to create is going to be this top plate. I could approach this part a couple of different ways. I could sketch it from the top and extrude up and then add some features and cut, but I think the most efficient way is going to be to start from this front view and create this sketch and then extrude it back the depth of 3 1/4. Then, once I've done that, I'm going to add the rounds to each corner, the fillets, and then I'm going to add the 4 holes. So that's the path that I'm going to take for this particular part. Let's jump right into it. As you can see, I'm already in my top plate template, and as part of that, I've got my top plate layer current. You'll also notice that I've got my 3D modeling workspace set, so if you don't have that, you can click your workspace drop down and go to your 3D modeling. And as I mentioned a moment ago, I want to start by sketching the front shape. Well, right now my view cube tells me that I'm looking down from the top. So I actually want to change my view orientation to the front. Now there's a couple of different ways that you can do this. If you use the view cube, so I'm going to go ahead and select the home button on my view cube to go to 3D. And I'm even going to turn on my grid so you can see the plane that I'm sketching on. If I select the front, you can see that I am not actually sketching parallel to my plane. In fact, if I try to sketch, I'm only going to be able to draw horizontal lines. That's because I changed my view, but I didn't change my user coordinate system. So I'm going to go back to home here. And then instead of using the view cube, I am going to use my view drop down right here, and I'm going to select front. Now it reorients my view, and I'm sketching on the XY plane. Don't be alarmed by the fact that this changed to top. Basically, you're always sketching on the top. It's just we redefine where the top is. So as I mentioned, I'm going to start with that front view. So I'm going to start with a line command, and then I am going to start at 0, 0 for my first point. And then doing a little math, we can see that we're going to come straight to the right 2 inches to start. And then I'm going to go up 1/10 of an inch, so 0.1, back to the right 2, back down 0.1, back to the right 2, and then up from there 0.4, back to the left 1.8. Doing a little bit of math here, I'm going to go up 0.2, back to the left 2.4, back down 0.2 again, back to the left 1.8, and then you can either click on your original point, or you could type in 0, 0 and hit enter, or my personal favorite, I'm going to select close at my command line. Next, I'm going to return to my world coordinate system. So I'm going to use this button right here that has the planet Earth on it. This sets me back to my original UCS. I'm going to click the home button, and now you can see that I'm back to having my horizontal XY plane here. Next, I want to extrude this, but right now I've done this as separate lines. So if I extrude it, it's going to create surfaces. I'm going to join these together. Personally, I like to type J and enter, but you can also select the modify drop down and select your join command right here. I'm just going to window around everything and press enter and confirm that it's one selectable object now. Next, I'm going to extrude this. So I will select my extrude command and select my shape, then press enter. I can see that the Z positive direction is going out towards the front. I want it to go back, so I'm going to put in a negative value. So the depth is 3.25. I'm going to type in negative 3.25 and press enter. And now I've got my main shape here. I'm going to go ahead and use the text here to change this view to shaded with edges so that I can see the solid part. This is where you can confirm that you made a solid part. If you see grid lines all over the shape, then you know that you created surfaces instead. Speaking of grid lines, I'm going to turn my grid lines off for now to clean up my screen a little bit. And the next thing that I want to do is to fillet all 4 corners. I'm going to do them one at a time. That way, if I make a mistake, I don't have to start completely over on all of them. For this, I'm not going to use the normal fillet command. I'm going to go to the solid tab, and then here, I'm going to select Fillet Edge. As with the normal fillet command, I'm going to come down to my command line and select radius, and then type in my value of 0.5 and press enter. Then I am going to select the first edge that I want to round. I'll see a preview of it, and basically you're going to have to hit enter twice. One time to preview it more in depth, and then one more time to accept it. So I'm going to tap the spacebar multiple times when I do this. So I'm going to tap it to repeat the last command. I'm going to select the next edge, and then I'll tap it twice to accept it. So same thing, tap the spacebar to repeat the last command, pick my edge, press enter to preview it, and enter one more time to accept it. And then I'll revolve around here, and one more time, spacebar, select the edge, and then spacebar twice. And now I've got my 1/2" radius fillets on each corner. Well, finally, I have 4 holes to place, and you can see in the detailed drawing that these holes are a diameter of 0.3. You can also see that they come in 1/2 inch from each side. So basically that means since we've got 1/2" fillets on each corner, these holes are located at the center of those fillets. So rather than try to come in 1/2 inch each way, I'm just going to snap to the center of each of these arcs. To do this, I'm going to need to make sure that I have Dynamic User Coordinate System turned on. So down here in my status bar, you can see DUCS, or Dynamic User Coordinate System, is turned on. If you don't see that button, you can click the Options button here on the bottom right of your status bar and turn the Dynamic UCS button on. Now this just turns the button on or off, not necessarily the feature, so I also want to confirm that the feature is turned on as well. Next, I'm going to sketch a center diameter circle. So back to the Home tab. I'm going to click the drop down next to my circle and choose center diameter. Now with Dynamic User Coordinate Systems, you can see that it's highlighting each individual surface. I'm just going to come over until I see it grab the center object snap, click on the center point there, and then put in my diameter of 0.3. So I'll repeat that. Center diameter. I'll come in and hover over the arc, then come back and click on the center point. Obviously, I have center object snaps turned on. And then I'll just press enter or the space bar to create another circle of the same size. So I'll do that a couple more times here. Circle, center diameter, select the center here, press the space bar to keep the same size, and then one more. One thing I like to do in 3D a lot is object snap overrides. So I might instead shift right click and choose center, and then click on the arc. And then once again, I can hit the space bar to create the same size. Next, I want to extrude these so that I can cut them out. It doesn't matter how far I extrude them as long as I extrude them through the part. Personally, I find that I can extrude a little better in wireframe. Sometimes I have a hard time selecting these sketched objects. So I'm going to change my view back to 2D wireframe. I'm going to choose my extrude command. I'm going to select all 4 circles here and press enter. And then once again, I'm just going to extrude them down below the rest of the part here. I'll go back to shaded with edges, and then I'm ready to subtract. So here in my solid editing panel, the second button here is going to be my subtract. When I select it, the command line asks me first to select what I want to subtract from. That's going to be my main part. So I'll select it and press enter. Then it wants to know what objects I want to select. So I'm going to pick those 4 cylinders I just created. In fact, I'm going to rotate my screen so I can just do a crossing and select all 4 at the same time, and then press enter. And now you can see that I have my completed part with the 4 holes. I'm going to go ahead and save my part, but then I'm also going to create a detailed drawing. To do this, I'm going to go to the C size tab here. And currently I have a viewport here, but I don't actually want to use the viewport. I'm going to delete that viewport. What I'm going to use instead is here on the Layout tab, I have some tools to create some views. Now, what if you don't see these buttons? Let me show you what to do. I'm going to type menu load at my command line and press enter. What I'm looking for is this model doc. This is a model documentation menu. If I were to select unload and click close, you can see that I no longer have those tools on my Layout tab. So if that's happening to you, just type menu load and enter. Choose browse. Scroll down and select the model doc CUI, and then select load. and then close. Now, the first time you try to use this, you're probably going to be prompted to install an extension. This is the Inventor Interoperability extension, and it's basically needed to create the views of solid parts. Even though we're not specifically dealing with Inventor, it uses the same workflow, so you'll have to install this for this to work. Once you've done that, it's very easy to create our views. So here on the Layout tab, I'm going to go to the base view, and then from Model Space. By default, it's going to show me my front view. I can choose some other views as well if I want. I can decide if I want hidden lines to show or if I want it to be shaded. I'm going to choose hidden lines. I can choose a scale. I'll go with 1:1 for now. I'll go ahead and click to place my first view here, and then click OK. And now I can create my projected views. So I'll create my top view, my right side view, and my isometric view. And then I'll right click and select Enter. And there you can see my 3 views. I'm going to double click on my isometric view, and then I'm going to come up top to my ribbon and change this to shaded with visible lines, and then click OK. Of course, from there, I can add in some center lines and annotations, but we'll go ahead and pause here since we have the solid part. Once again, make sure you save the file and then be on the lookout for the other steps in this series so that you can create the full caster assembly. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video from Between CAD Classes.